With the country under new leadership, Hawaii's congressional delegation recommitting to supporting constituents here at home, including Congresswoman Jill Tokuda, who joins me now via Zoom with a look ahead to the future. Representative, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's a new year, a new administration, and given the tone of lawmaking in Washington right now, what are you prioritizing for constituents?
Well, in many ways, it has never changed. It always is about taking care of our people. I'm literally sitting at my kitchen table right now in Kaneohe that, yes, it has been pretty rainy lately, by the way, but it's about the conversations we have around these tables. How are we going to make sure that everyday families can keep a roof over their head and food on the table? And we know that it's been far too long for our kama'aina that's been such a struggle. And so for myself, it's prioritizing those basic needs, bringing down those cost drivers, and I will work with anyone willing on both sides of the aisle to do that, bringing down those food costs, talking about building housing that we can afford. And as you know, close to my heart, I co-lead the Bipartisan Rural Health Caucus in Congress. How do we make sure that no matter where you live in this state, on any island, throughout the country, your life expectancy, your quality of life, your access to care doesn't depend on your zip code? And so I fight with dozens of other lawmakers, Dems and Republicans, to talk about rural health and make sure that we make those changes in Congress. And so very similar to what it's always been. Will it be a challenge in a tightly divided Congress, even more tightly than before? Absolutely. But those are the things we've got to keep top of mind, despite all the chaos that you have been seeing literally in the last week and a half.
Oh, I know you've highlighted the last several times we've talked to you just how important it is to, work with those on both sides of the aisle. But with, Democrats in the minority, what do you expect the biggest challenge will be moving forward?
I think it is going to be about us reaching out effectively to those on the other side of the aisle that want to get things done. In many, many ways, this Republican trifecta is probably more difficult on them, because they're being expected to carry a mandate that, quite frankly, when you take a look at a lot of the decisions, executive orders coming down from the White House, this will hurt Republican districts as much, if not more, than Democratic ones. Literally taking away funds that would help everyday people in their community, whether it's farmers, whether it's business owners, whether it's everyday people that rely on government to work. And when you are literally firing, you're doing hiring freezes, you're stopping the funding of government from going out, which, by the way, the power of the purse resides with Congress. So definitely stepping over those constitutional boundaries, the balance of powers. Definitely, this is a time when it's going to be even harder for Republicans, but we need some brave few to have the courage to do the right thing and work with us. We're going to have some big challenges just balancing the budget and reaching that debt limit ceiling that's coming up in the next few months. And so this is about everyone sitting down at the table and working together and not buying into this mandate, kind of theory that we have out there, because that mandate, as we've seen so far in the first few days, it's not good. It's a mandate on America.
Representative, I know whenever you are home, you make it a point to, go and visit those on all islands and speak to community members. And recently, Mokulele Airlines temporarily grounded flights due to a maintenance issue. And I think the last few times I've talked to you, you've actually visited Molokai and Lanai. And so, of course, this really impacting our community members there. What's a workable solution for those limited travel options? And what are you trying to do to help those communities right now?
It's absolutely a struggle. I will tell you, just this past weekend, I went to Lanai as soon as I got home. Did not get there by plane on Mokulele, obviously. Went to Maui by ferry after. So again, all those other options that people have to take to be able to get to and from the island. Spoke with folks, just hung out at Blue Ginger and over at Dole Park and talked to them about the struggle. And it is absolutely real. Getting to doctor's appointments, being able to go to a funeral, seeing loved ones. Some people literally saying, I don't know if I want to bother, getting the care that I need to take care of myself, because it's such a struggle to be able to get to and from my regularly scheduled appointments. That's unacceptable, absolutely acceptable. I was talking to veterans, I was talking to seniors, people with families. This is something that we have got to make a change for. I talked to Mokulele I talked to the U.S. Department of Transportation, the FAA. To me, there's a lot of things that need to be done, but first and foremost, there must always be a contingency plan in place so that should, for whatever reason, these planes go down, these are lifelines to Molokai and Lanai. There needs to be a contingency plan in place to make sure people, goods and services like medication, like food, can get on and off the islands. And right now, we don't have a viable contingency plan. We need all of government, all the partners in play to sit down and come up with these things, because promising that it won't happen again is not good enough for our people. And quite frankly, we've heard this time and time again. So to me, contingency plans, even if it's something that I need to look at Congress to mandate as part of essential air service contracts, this to me is something that everyone deserves to have, because we shouldn't be scrambling and getting people off on fishing boats because the planes won't fly.
Well, Representative, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that and what you are trying to do to create some lifelines for our communities on the neighbor islands right now. And of course, we always thank you for joining us, taking the time. Mahalo.
Thank you for always having me. Mahalo.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Are we ready? Are you rolling? Okay. As a representative, I know that you've also been really taking a look at what's happening with Hawaii's workforce. You've spent some time out on the picket lines with our nurses, and we've just been seeing, kind of like a domino effect across our islands with nurses at several different hospitals. How do we support Hawaii's healthcare needs in the midst of all of this?
That's a great question. And right now, we've been fighting in Congress to make sure that we can support our healthcare workforce with loan reimbursement programs and so many other things that's going to encourage, quite frankly, us to grow our own in our community. I think it is also about us recognizing that it takes nurses, but it takes doctors. It takes every other person in the hospital, in the clinic, in a provider's office to make it work. And so really helping to uplift them in these moments, respect the fact that sometimes you will have these contract negotiations stall. And that's why for myself, refusing to cross the line in these instances, because it's so important that we value their work and we respect them, because they take care of us when we need them most. And in many cases, they need us to help take care of them so they can support their families as well. But it's a huge priority for me. And right now I'm really focused on how we grow our own, how we increase those reimbursements so they can actually make a living wage themselves in many different cases. And again, we're not just talking about nurses and docs that we see sometimes on those lines. It's everyone else in the hospital that makes sure that we have that experience that we need.
Representative, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Thank you.